Hey guys, in this lecture we see the most important and very interesting topic of CSS, that is grid. So first we know what is grid. Grid basically is used for responsiveness of your page layout. You can design many complex web design using grid very easily because it's very interesting and very important. So first, if we go to our browser here, and here is our browser and editor is open. So first, to use grid, I make a simple grid here and I write here div dot container, and if I enter here, I click on enter. So now you see automatically div class and their container is here. So that is our class. In this class we make a further classes. So first I write here div dot item. I click on enter. So now this is our inherent of this our first class, because we write here div and class name is container, and in this div we have another div, that is div, and here class is item. So I make it for 3 times. So if I copy it, I simply click on here at the end of this div and control C here and enter, and if I paste it, control V, so now you see automatically printed control V. So I control V. Now 3 times our div is printed in our parent div. So in item, if I write here A, and in the second one I write here B, and in the third one I write here C. So if I save it and reload, so now our A, B, C, that is our 3 divs, are here in our column. So now we see how to use grid. So in this, I simple write here style tag, that is used for our CSS. So if I write here style, and now automatically close tag is here, that is a Visual Studio best thing. So first, for grid I write here dot container, that is our class name, and in container if I write here display property and name it as grid. So if I save it and refresh, so nothing is here because we do not yet specify how to use grid. So that is tells our container class that divs have a grid. So in the second one we want here columns. So let me now I write here grid template columns. If I enter it, so now you see our grid template columns is here, and in property I write here auto, auto, and auto. So don't worry, we make it simple as, so I have 3 times here auto, auto, and auto. If I save it and reload, so now you see our grid is now in a row and 3 columns is here. If I drag it here, so now you see that are equal divide in 3 columns and have a equal space. So that is the best thing of grid. It divides it's in equal form, and if we want resize it, we can. So that is our grid. So if I change the item dot item, that is our second class name, and I write here background color, and if I write here red, so you clearly see what I mean. So now you see that is our background color of all of them, that is A, B, C have 3 columns, and all of them have a background color red because we have same class of this. So that is why we have item class that is same for our 3 divs. So that is why background color all of these have this. So these grid have not by default margins and paddings that we see in the last lectures. So what we know, if I want to further space here between these columns, I want a gap in these columns. So what would I do? For this, in grid tag, I write here. Now I want a column gap. So if I write here column and the third one you see column gap. So what I gap? What is the size of gap? So if I write here 10 pixels and save it and reload. So now you see all the columns have a 10 pixels of gap between them. So what if I want these text in here in center? So for this, if I go here and I write here text align, that is the best property for center. Save it and reload. So now you see all the text in a center of this div. So what if I want to 3 more copies of these? So I simple copy of it and paste it in here after this and change A B C D to alphabet, that's our remaining E and F and the third one G. So if I save it and reload, so now you see our 3 more columns in the next row. So what does that mean? Because these are in next row, because we write here a 3 columns width, that is our auto and auto, that is our 3 columns. If I want to more, I write here auto, that is our 4 column, and one auto, that is our 5s, and auto, that is our 6. So now our 6 columns in our first row. So if I reload it, so now you see all the tags here. You now see divs 1, div 2, div 3, div 4, div 5, div 6 have a equal space, equal size, because in grid. So that is the advantage of grid. That's automatically handled our tag. So that is, so if I remove one auto here, if I remove one and make it 5, so what changes you see here? If I remove this and save it and reload, so now you see our 5 column in our first row and the last 6 column in our next row, because we write here auto remove. We have 5 auto. So if I want to change the row gap, that is our column gap, and you see here row gap. So what would I do? So for this, if I remove all of these, now our 3 columns, that's our first, and you see our 3 columns here and there 2 rows. So if I want, we see here a column gap. If I want a row gap, I write here row and gap here and want it to 10 pixels also. So if I reload it, so now you see our rows and columns have a 10 pixels columns gap and 10 pixels row gap. So that is our grid properties. So one more thing, if I want to change this according to size, I want it 100 pixels, and the second one I want it 10 pixel. We have a custom sizing here, and I also want third 100 pixels. So I save it and reload. So now you see that is a very interesting. The first div here, that is 100 pixels, so we write it 100 pixels, and both the rows are 100 pixels, because in one first column, in the second column, the first and second row in the second columns have 10 pixels, because we write here 10 pixels. So in the third columns also a 100 pixels, because we write it 100 pixels. If I change it to 100 pixels also the second one, so now all the equal. So if I reload it, so now you see all our tags here, that's our divs and containers items, have a equal sizes. So what if I wanted to center of the browser? So in this property, I go to a grid our container items and write here justify content and center. So if I reload it, so now you see all our in the center. So that is the best thing about grid. That is very easy to use and make our page responsive, and we can design many complex design with this grid in very easily. We do not use float, we do not use positions, we just use grid, and our all the items are accordingly. So that is the grid. So for this, if I want some, I remove these last three items here and save it and reload. So now you see our three columns here, that is first row, and all have equal and in center of a browser. So we want a design into practical. So first, instead of A, I click enter and write here H2, that is the second heading tag, and write here pizza. Save it and reload. So now you see our pizza is here, and that's its width. All of these because H2 have a certain margins and paddings by default that we see in the last lecture. So I want all of these have these H2 tags. So first I remove these B, click enter and paste it over here, and remove C, click enter and paste it over here. And second I write here sandwich, sandwich here. Save it and reload. So now our first one pizza, second sandwich, and third one also have a pizza. So if I want to change to increase the width, or if I use it auto, that is the best. So I simply remove all of these and write here auto, that is equal width, and that is best for our this. I write here auto, auto, and auto. Save it and reload. So now you see these all have auto, auto, and auto. Because this is small, because all of these text have a no left and right margins, because this is small. If I want to change it to a 500 pixel width, also 500 pixels width, and this one also has a 500 pixel width. Save it and reload. So now you see all of these have 500 pixels width of these all of our items. So now we have one more things in between, that is paragraph. So if I write here paragraph and I write here this is pizza service, we do it better for you, eat and enjoy. So if I save it and reload, so now you see our text is here, that is our paragraph. So this is very difficult for you to see, so I wanted to change, so I wanted to change to 300 pixels for you, really easy. 300 pixel size, also 300 pixels, and the last one 300 pixels. Save it and reload. So now these are all 300 pixels have this. So all of these I have a copy pasted paragraph here. For the second one I also copy this paragraph, Control C, and after this I paste it here, and also the third one I paste it here. So this is pizza service, and this is sandwich service. I change it to only sandwich. That is a very yummy and I love these products. So now our three items have here. So one thing I want to add image at the top of this. So first I go to here in H2 and I write here for image that we see in last lecture we use img, img and src. In src we write here our page source. So now our images is here in images, that is our CSS tutorial, and in CSS folder we have a images folder, and images we have a two images, that is pizza and sandwich. So first I write here images source images slash pizza.jpg. If I save it and reload, so now you see that is a very not in size. So first we use sizes to small. So first in this I write here width 100 pixels and change height also 100 pixels. Save it and reload. That is a very small. Oh, that is a very small. So what would I do? I change the width to 300 pixels. That is width of our item. So now you see this is in our items because our items the container size is 300 pixels and we want the image size also 300 pixels, so that's why I write here 300 pixels. If I want to increase the height I change 200 pixels, save it and reload. So now you see our 200 pixels height and 300 pixels that fits on our item one. So for the second one I also want to use this. So for the second one I write here img, that is image tag, and src I write here images. I write here one more thing. I write here images slash sandwich, and I also want to change the height and width according to our size of our items. So width 300 pixels, that is our item size, and height 200 pixels. So that is why they are equals. So you see here our first two items have an images. So the third one I use pizza, so I simple copy of the first one, that is our pizza, and copy it, Control C, and the last one paste it here, save it and reload. So now you see our three items have here, that's our pizza, sandwich and pizza. So that is the grid. We do not make it any decorated or any beautiful design, we just simple example of how to use grid. And in the further next lectures we have flex box lectures, that is a very important lecture of CSS, and in the next we make a from scratch design of a website that is very responsive and very beautiful. So in this lecture we see a grid with simple examples of how to use images in grid and how to use headings and how to use grids in CSS. So furthermore you go to right here grid in CSS and you see many of these tags here, and W3 School is the best website for this. So you see many of here their layouts, their containers, their items, many properties you learn from here. So that is the simple grid I want to show you in this lecture. That is the basically used for these. So if you like this lecture, please hit the like button and subscribe our channel, so and hit the bell icon. Thanks for watching.